Welcome to the We Win in July podcast, everybody. I'm Tyler Todd, your host, sitting here with my co-host, Jaron, the Snow K-Man Sandberg. I thought we might start with another big intro.
I was going to, let me just give you the shortened version. If you listen to our last episode, you can listen to the longer version. Here's the shorter. So start with a little Tyler. From the mean streets of the front nine to the dawn runs at every conference to 10 years of courtroom carnage by my side. He's the dad, the myth, the Justin Bieber backup singer, the Pitbull party starter, the torn meniscus titan who still won't tap out. Put your hands together for the managing partner of mayhem, Tyler T.
Thank you. Next time we're going to do one for you, but I want to recognize that I do love Pitbull and I do love Justin Bieber.
I know that wasn't just ChatGPT coming. I gave it some good information.
You gave it some insight, hey,
I gave it the inside scoop.
What do they call them? You're a Bieber, you're a
believer.
Belieber. Yeah, I consider myself a believer,
like a Swiftie, a believer.
I like Bieber. I like Pitbull too. You know, it's funny because we were down at the soccer fields recently, and I was down there with my son, just doing some drills and whatnot, and my wife was down there, and the pickleball courts were next door. And if you guys anywhere in Utah, actually anywhere, I feel like in this country, if not the world, pickleball is taking over, right?
Taking over.
I mean, so the pickleball courts were going crazy. They're listening to loud music, and I think there was something like a Pitbull song. Right. Something like that. And my wife's like, that's typical pickleball music. And I'm like, what does that mean? I like that song.
Yeah.
What? Those pickleballers. And I'm like, I don't play pickleball, but I like that song.
Well, do you think it was remember when you're a little kid and you're at the grocery store and they're like, I can't believe they're playing this old dumb music. And then every once in a while now I'm at the grocery store, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like a catchy song. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. This is what the music was when I was a kid. So now
I like
apparently
it.
That's old,
yeah, I mean
pickleball music.
Pickleball music. So Bieber, Pitbull, pickleball music, I like it all. Let's talk about Utah, because we just talked about the craze of pickleball here in Utah. We're injury lawyers. If you guys haven't picked up on that, we're injury lawyers, and we're passionate about what we do. And we are passionate about what we do because there's some pretty crazy stats in Utah with accidents. And I don't know what it is. It might be that we have a lot of snowbirds that come in and out of Utah.
I have done depositions lately of quite a few 70 and 80-year-old defendants.
Right. Well, and there was a horrible accident recently with a 90-year-old woman that was
that one's terrible.
Wrong way on the freeway and killed. She passed away, and then two others in the other vehicle passed away. So for whatever reason, yeah, I feel like, and we were even kind of talking about this. I don't know if it was with you or someone else. Do we need to institute a mandatory cutoff with age restriction?
Well, or
with driver's licenses.
So this is what. There was a conversation on the radio after we left. They were still talking about it last week. And the conversation was around the eye test. It was, and I know this from my own, that they don't really, you're sitting there looking at a machine, but then I don't renew my driver's license for 8 years.
Right.
And so you just think of the average person, if they're 70, get their driver's license renewed. It's not another 8 years till we take a look. And then beyond getting a bunch of tickets or something that gets your license naturally revoked, they don't know. It's not when you renew your driver's license, they're like, hey, Tyler, are you texting and driving? They don't ask any of that stuff.
Right.
And we just kind of allow it. As long as they filled out the paperwork, pay their $25 renewal fee, take a goofy picture, pass the little eye exam.
My picture's not goofy.
I have the most terrible driver's license picture. We'll post it on social media because it's the worst one.
We ought to post both our driver's license pictures and see which one's the goofiest.
Mine is, I'll just show you for anyone watching on YouTube, and maybe we'll throw this up, but it's the worst one.
You can't see it.
We'll post it on social. It's just a bad one.
Not good.
I got a bad angle. I had the shoulders hunched. I feel like I look like Chris Farley.
Yeah, that's a good representation.
Like,
yeah.
But Chris Farley doing a bit, not Chris Farley.
Chris Farley like on drugs.
Yeah, like it's not a good look. It's not a good look. But we just let these people, and again, these people, elderly people.
Yeah, I mean, look, elderly people can drive.
But anyone, we do a driver's test at 16 where you have to prove you can drive. And then we don't
vision and all those things.
And we don't do any follow-up the rest of your life.
And that's a good point. And I feel like we say it a lot, like, okay, in your 40s, and this starts to go, and that starts to go, and you don't recover as fast. Well, what happens? And again, no knock on anyone in their 70s, but between age 70 and let's say 75, what goes? I imagine it's similar to like the same things we say in our 40s. It's got to be like vision, right?
Oh, reflexes.
Like
your time to process.
Hearing.
Like braking.
So.
Like we had the one we just did, this elderly gentleman was in the completely wrong lane to turn left. Just complete wrong lane, made a left turn, didn't even look because there's no stop, just turned left on a green light right in front of two vehicles. Our client hit him going approximately 30, 40 miles an hour.
Right.
It's just rough when you get to that age.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, we as the lawyers representing the individuals that are hurt from such accidents, I mean, we kind of have to not go after them, but we kind of have to say it was negligent for you to be driving.
Yeah.
Or the move or the action taken or the omission was negligent.
Yeah.
And that could have been due to poor reflexes, poor vision, poor hearing, poor all the things.
I know. Another one. There's another case where the gentleman told me he has to wear glasses. And so then I went through all the accident scene photos with him, and he's not wearing his glasses.
No glasses, yeah.
And again, this isn't like I hope this doesn't feel like we're just bashing.
No, we're not bashing the old people.
But it's stuff like that like, again, should we have another driver's test? I think we should.
They might I would suggest that it's mandatory every maybe year after a certain age.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 65. I mean, that's annoying, but or maybe 70. I don't know.
You get discounts at everywhere else at 55.
If you qualify for Medicare at 65, I mean,
let's just have you do a driver's test.
Have you do a driver's test.
Yeah.
It's just we just see it too much. In 2023 in Utah, you guys, there were almost 65,000 motor vehicle accidents, resulting in 26,000 injuries.
Now, that we know that number from our statistics is low, and the reason why, again, is a lot of our clients, because of the shock, they don't know they're hurt.
Right. But the most telling stat that I want to say from those is 279 lives lost.
Yeah.
Okay. So what that means is there's a crash every 8.8 minutes, or a person injured every 20 minutes, and a death every 31 hours on Utah roads. Now, that's just from 2023.
Which is terrible.
I would argue that those numbers are worse over the last couple years. So we kind of got into our little funny intro and all these other things, but we're talking about the hidden costs of accidents and why insurance companies want to continue to try to deny them.
Yeah.
And what that looks like and how that affects not just you as potential victim, but how it affects. We get this question a lot too. In fact, someone just called. We represent a woman that was significantly injured in a really bad car accident. It wasn't like a fender bender where you look at the photos and you're like, where was the impact?
Yeah.
I mean, the car was totaled. I mean, and I think even in the deposition, the defendant driver was just like, I just wasn't looking or paying attention. I just don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
And just ran a red light and just T-boned our client. I mean, at 45, probably 50 miles an hour. Bad accident. And of course, the insurance company is denying.
Yeah.
And they're not wanting to pay fair value. Hardly they've even offered to cover the medical bills because they're trying to say that all these other issues, she's older, have come from other things, not the injury suffered in the accident, which is a typical strategy the insurance companies try to use.
Yeah.
Because if they can't dispute liability, which they can't dispute liability here, they often
Ran a red light,
they try to do
T-boned
that.
someone.
Yeah. Then they try to minimize the injuries and say, "Oh, we didn't cause that. We're only responsible for what we caused. It must be from other things." So we had to file a lawsuit, and we had to name this woman. My client doesn't have any ill will towards this woman. We don't have any ill will towards this woman. In fact, we've had to name her in a lawsuit to get to the insurance policy. So technically we had to name her, but we have no ill will. She called.
Yeah.
This woman called someone that knows me and was asking questions like, "Do you know them? Are they good people? Why would they do this to me?
Yeah.
Do they know what they're making my insurance rates go up?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, first of all, that's unprofessional.
Now, who did they call? Was it like a family member?
Pseudo,
Okay.
like an in-law.
An in-law.
Kind of.
So did they give him like good dirt on you?
Maybe. I hope not. I don't know what dirt to give, but
because what they told you is like, "Oh yeah, I let them know you're outstanding."
Yeah, I said you were great.
I worry what my mother-in-law would tell someone, right?
Pseudo in-law. I'm not going to say names but I found it wild.
Yeah.
And I wish I could say to that person, and we've already deposed her, so we can't.
Yeah.
Well, one, we're not coming after you. We're coming after the insurance company. And two, your rates have gone up because of the accident you caused, not because of the lawsuit we filed.
Yeah. And it'll go up regardless of how much they pay.
Regardless.
And you almost want to say, like, you wouldn't have actually been named in a lawsuit, which does show up, it does show up in court records that a lawsuit's been filed against you. But none of that would have happened if your insurance company would have been reasonable on negotiations.
And paid, and that's the hard part is you guys have policy limits. I mean, you pay for auto or health. Insurance companies are obligated to protect you contractually, right? So they have limits that they can pay within. Yeah. So if they're really trying to protect you, they're going to try to resolve that claim within those limits or pay the limits.
And we're like, people think like, oh, that $24 million case we talked about in the last episode, and you think this is outrageous. It feels frivolous.
Right.
Me and you have this conversation with clients all the time about, it kind of feels like gambling, but you're like, look, what they're offering, because this does happen, not a lot, but it does happen, pre-litigation. Hey, look, they're offering what we actually think a jury could award. Now, it might be on the lower end or it might be in the middle. There's plausibly a jury could award you a lot more, but they're within that range that this makes sense to settle the case. And that happens a lot. A lot of cases still settle pre-litigation. But other times, like in this one, they weren't even close.
Not even close.
It wasn't like taking this big risk, like, ooh, well, you're taking a big risk because bird in the hand's two in the bush. It was like, there was no bird offered. There was nothing waiting in the bush. It was just, there's nothing.
And that's a great point. We just settled a case literally 2 days ago for 7 figures. Okay. It's a big case, but pre-litigation. So we didn't have to file a lawsuit, but 2 things happened. One, the lawyer came in and said, "We're really sorry. We know this case is significant and we know that you've been injured and we want to make sure that you know that." And 2, I want to convey to you that our insured that caused the accident and the injuries feels horrible about what happened and just wants to and hopes you're okay. Yeah. Which is very nice.
Yeah.
And this scenario I just gave you about this woman calling and is Tyler a good, bad person?
Yeah.
Neither of those have happened.
No.
And so that's where it's like there are different approaches that can be taken in the event something like that were to happen. Hey, we feel bad about it. We take responsibility. And by the way, my client's really concerned about your driver or your client. Is she okay? And what's happening? And then pay within what we think a jury would award.
Yeah. And again, we're not saying, it's not like me and Tyler are trying to do settlements. Well, if you got the best jury on the best day and the best, we're not playing with those kind of odds. It's not like, well, there is a 1% chance like the jury could be really dumb and give you $1 billion. It's just not like that.
No.
We're looking at these things as analytical as we can and saying, look, there's a lot of settlements that, hey, this is within the realm, or there's even, hey, this is how much better we'd have to do if we do file a lawsuit because of court costs and other things. Time is a factor.
Yeah, in a lot of
And
cases,
so there's a lot of thing that goes into that decision, whether to settle, pre-litigation, litigation.
absolutely. And a lot of cases do go to trial because the insurance companies just say, we dispute either liability or we just don't think the causation's there on the injuries, right?
Yeah.
And then we go to trial.
Yeah.
And those verdicts can range. I mean, you guys have all seen it across, different media platforms. There are verdicts that come in that are substantially larger than what the lawyers were even asking for.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are cases that lose.
Yeah.
Because the jury just didn't feel like the evidence was there to warrant an award, for what the lawyers were asking for, probably, right?
Well, and what's interesting in both scenarios, the plaintiff is the one taking the risk. Like, the defense attorney pats himself on the back. Hey, we won a case. But that injured victim is really who loses out. And even on the best of cases and the best of verdicts, I can guarantee there's not a verdict out there that the person's going, yeah, I'd do it again for that amount of money. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Or I feel vindicated now.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't, it doesn't happen.
And there's one defense attorney in particular that we like to laugh about in our office. I won't say their name on the podcast, but really touts their big victories, defended against X case. And I just think, I wish they'd post, we spent $3 million defending this, or whatever it was, this massive case. The actual cost to defend, not just pay someone a reasonable rate.
Well, some of these defense lawyers, it feels like, and even adjusters, mostly adjusters, not so much the defense lawyers, they feel like they're paying the money out of their own pockets.
Yeah,
and it's like,
if I let this claim go for another $1,100, and sometimes it's so funny to again, if we're going to classify adjusters, and I was thinking about this the other day, because there's some adjusters that are a delight to work with. I'll call them the unicorn adjusters because they're few and far between. But they are like, hey, I've looked at this. I'm getting you more money. I've got a meeting, and it almost feels like, hey, look, you helped me see this in the way that I needed to go get the value, and that case settles. But you've got the other side of these adjusters sometimes that, like you said, not only do they feel like it's coming out of their pocket, but they also become like a neurosurgeon.
Right, immediately.
Immediately well, this doctor can't diagnose that because that's not their specialty. And I'm like, who are you?
Right. Oh, I believe you now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, what are we going to say? Well,
right.
Thanks so much. You know what? Now I see it your way, not from my client's doctor's way or my client who's obviously dealing with this, but from your computer back in Omaha.
Yeah, you've convinced me.
You've convinced me. You know what? Let me just scratch the whole thing. Yeah. We're close the claim. You won. What's going to happen?
Well, and it's frustrating because our clients deal with real life issues, unlike what the person behind the computer screen is dealing with. And now they see lots of claims, and I get it, but they're not feeling that stress of bills, pain, going to appointments, managing that, right?
Yeah.
We just had someone yesterday, just managing going to the different doctor's appointments was stressful.
Yeah.
It interferes with work. It interferes with family. It interferes with marriages. It causes stress.
Yeah.
When you can't sleep at night because you just can't turn over on your side or whatever it might be, or headaches, then it causes you to be moody and in a bad mood, and it just affects everything. So
we've had enough clients go through divorces
during
their recovery which I feel like was a contributing factor. No, maybe not the sole cause, but
absolutely. So, I mean, it's just the long-term effect that these things have on these clients of ours and their families and their coworkers and all. I mean, it's just super relevant. And I get there's always two sides, but I feel like to some degree, at least we level the playing field of being able to tell their story, why it's a big deal, and why you're asking for a certain amount of money. And if you don't get that pre-litigation, then that you have to then file suit. Yeah. And in a lot of cases settle before trial, but that's where it's another even almost even more frustrating part to now we have to okay, prove it, which, okay, we're in a prove it system, right? And that's fine. But sometimes when we feel like we've given you everything,
yeah,
and then they all of a sudden become a neurosurgeon because they stayed in a Holiday Inn last night, you're like...
Well, this is my favorite one that you did recently, and I think this came out in a mediation where their whole argument was, well, we would if you could just prove it. And then we did prove it right in mediation with getting some additional documents. And then it was like, within minutes, I don't think it was very long. It was like, no, we still deny it.
Yeah, they didn't move the needle. Okay. Well,
because I think they were convinced that we were never going to be able to provide the documentation. And then they had to double down on stupid, which was, oh, even with it, no, it doesn't matter.
That's. I mean, it feels like that's what they did, right? And
I'm simplifying it, I'm sure. But...
And to some degree, and this is what's difficult, and this is the balance with even ourselves. We have rose-colored glasses on, we get it, but defense lawyers are also, they make, insurance companies and the lawyers that represent them, they make their money by billing files, and so they don't have any incentive.
They don't like it when you point that out. By the way. I don't think that's.
Well, it's the reality.
They don't give us the you're right.
You're right. No, I'm representing my client. You are, whatever. But do you think they really evaluated that with an eye towards oh, let's make sense. Let's resolve this claim? No, it's like, if I reject this, I don't think that's what it says.
Yeah.
They get another 8 depositions they're going to take, another more discovery, and probably bill the file another $50,000.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. And unfortunately, that's the games that they play, and you have to be aware of, and you have to get an injury lawyer involved from the very beginning, because we're trying to level that playing field from the get-go.
Yeah.
And let them know this is a big deal. Whatever money you think you need to set aside to resolve this claim, it needs to be higher, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully we're never that Cardi B lawyer.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we're going to start calling those lawyers, the Cardi B lawyers. A simple assault that wasn't even assault for $24 million.
Well, and one of our colleagues down in California, Mr. Alder, sometimes calls them billboard lawyers. So it seems like that's kind of the rap. I like the Cardi B lawyers.
Cardi B lawyer. Because we have some billboards. And in fact, we had a client recently that said, I'd almost, we hired you because we didn't see you on a ton of billboards. And now we see you everywhere. And I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, no, that's okay. Because there is maybe some kind of reputation that those,
kind of the Better Call Saul type
Better
lawyers.
Call Saul.
Yeah.
So we're going to call them Cardi B lawyers.
Cardi B lawyers.
That's better.
Yeah.
Because you do have to do things like podcasts, like billboards, like commercials, to let people know that you're out there, and that hopefully you're good lawyers and we'll do your very best for what we feel is justice.
Yeah.
And that's subjective, and we get that. And hopefully people recognize that. And I think that's why we have a good reputation with defense lawyers and adjusters, because we get that it's subjective. We recognize it's subjective. We just hope they hear our side as they would want us to hear theirs.
Yeah.
And then you weigh it, right? And if it's not a fair result, then you get to a jury and let the jury decide. Insurance companies use all kinds of ways to deny your claims. You need to make sure you have a really, really good injury lawyer on your side. If you're in Utah and you ever have a question about that, you can find us online. You can reach out to us on social media. There's a number of ways to find us. If you're outside of Utah, make sure you have a good injury lawyer. Look online, do your research. It's really important.
And if you call our office with a Cardi B type case, we're not going to take it.
We're probably going to tell you it's a Cardi B type case, and we're not going to take it. So that's just the reality. So anyways, you guys, be safe out there. Be respectful. Be kind. Be courteous. Leave early. Slow down. And until next time, good afternoon.
There you go.